What's cracking, pro wrestling fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Hard Way Pro Wrestling Show. We've got plenty to talk through today. Going to go through Raw and, of course, NXT. I'm going to give my 2 cents worth on, of course, the rift between Sol Ruka and Zaria. And then we'll have a quick look at what's happening on SmackDown this week as well. Unfortunately, last week I was hoping to get a bit more done in regards to covering AEW, Dynamite and Collision. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to. This week I'm going to try and make up for it there because Dynamite has happened in Australia already, but I was going to look at that tomorrow while after SmackDown happens, I can look at both of those. So pretty excited as well because AEW is currently in Australia too. Unfortunately, I wasn't organised enough to get tickets, but no doubt they'll come back to Australia and I'll be able to go then. Hopefully I can go in a capacity where I can cover the event. So that's the goal anyway. But as for now, I'm in my little studio here in Townsville, North Queensland, going through Raw and NXT results with the fans that like to watch. So again, thank you for joining me today. But we'll have a look at Raw first. Of course, big things happening on the road to WrestleMania, of course. And but before we get to WrestleMania, we've got Elimination Chamber happening in Chicago. So far, we've found that we've got LA Knight, or actually I'm jumping ahead a bit, but I'm sorry, there was a bit of a spoiler there, but I'm actually going to go back a step. Last week on SmackDown, Randy Orton qualified for the Elimination Chamber, and so did Tiffany Stratton. So they were the first 2 competitors that were named for, or won their way to Elimination Chamber. So, but let's kick off things here with Raw. And at the start, you had Becky Lynch coming out and challenging AJ Lee to a match at Elimination Chamber. This was pretty decent promo work. It's good to see AJ Lee back. She's awesome. Of course, as the show started, you saw CM Punk and AJ walking in together, and you saw Becky a few steps behind and losing her shit. And that is why she came out and challenged AJ Lee to a match. As we saw at WrestlePalooza in the tag match, it doesn't seem like AJ has lost a step at all, so that's good. And I think this is going to be a banger. It'll be good to see her in a singles match. And part of me is thinking they're going to put the IC title on her, but we'll wait and see because waiting in the wings, you've got 2 other women who I'll get to as well because they faced off on this episode of Raw too. But you got 2 women that have been going at Becky for the IC title as well. And one of those is a woman I feel like deserves it. Not that they both don't, but one deserves it as a lot. So, yeah. First match was the Usos defending the World Tag Team Championship against the Alpha Academy. Of course, the Alpha Academy is Tozawa and Otis. This was a pretty decent match. 2 fan favourites going at it. It can always be a bit hit and miss when you got 2 fan favourites going at it. But it was enjoyable. And Otis and Tozawa looked pretty good. I didn't think they were going to win the titles, mainly because the Usos have really only just got them back, so I don't see them losing them this quickly. Things have shocked me before, but this wasn't one of them. So I don't know what they're going to do with Otis and Tozawa. I don't know if they're going to continue their sort of trajectory towards the World Tag Team titles. They're a good comedy act, enjoyable. Fans love them, but do you want to put the gold on them? And if you do, you probably don't want them to beat the Usos straight out like this. You'd want them in like a fatal 4-way match where Otis or someone can get the pin over another team. So that would be where you'd go with that. You could almost say, I don't know what you could do. Who else you could have that could unseat the Usos at the moment, really? I think you're going to have the Usos reign for a long time. So, at least a year I see anyway. So They're 9-time tag team champions. They are just, I mean, their record speaks for themselves. And I don't think, considering all the backlash that the split of Jimmy and Jay had last year, I don't think they're going to split them up anytime soon as well. So I would have liked to have seen Jimmy win a singles title when they were split up, but not everyone can win singles titles, and sort of cheapens it a bit if you try and put a title on everyone, which sucks for Jimmy, but unfortunately that's the way it is. Of course, you had Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Dominic Mysterio out talking crap, and Liv, trying to work out what she's going to do and who she's going to pick. Stephanie Vaquer came out and had a bit of a chat to Liv and Dom, especially Dom, doing it in Spanish, and then she gave Dom an almighty slapping, which was amazing. Wasn't upset with that to see Dom Mysterio get slapped in his ratty face, but you got to love Dominic Mysterio's work. It's amazing. He is by far the most over superstar around. One of the most over superstars around. It's he's so good, and I couldn't imagine it being too long before he's in the main event picture fighting for a world title. At the moment, of course, he's the IC champ and he's the AAA champion as well. So he's going to be. He's got a few things to do yet. I don't know who's going to unseat him, but we'll wait and see how that goes. Now that he's returned from injury, so I'm happy to have him back from injury. Plays the heel so well, but it's also so enjoyable watching Stephanie Vaquer slap him in the face. So Liv still hasn't made a decision, but I think I said this last time. I do not see her choosing Jade Cargill. I really do see her picking Stephanie Vaquer. And there might be a spanner thrown in the works too of the world championship over the world WWE Women's Championship over on SmackDown, because later on when we have a quick look at the matches happening on SmackDown tomorrow, we will we'll talk through that Women's Championship match that's there, because I've heard a rumor that a certain person might be winning it. But back to Raw, and it's going to be Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer at WrestleMania. The women's Elimination Chamber match, see who would join Tiffany Stratton, and it's no surprises. Rhea Ripley won the match. Mummy is just like Dom, and she is the most over woman in pro wrestling. Don't at me for this one. I'm Australian, so of course I'm going to be biased. So yeah, but if you want to come for me, that's fine. Just do it in the comments. But Lyra Valkyria and Ivy Nile are both good. I've been really impressed with Ivy Nile lately. I really like what she's been doing. She's really impressed me. But Rhea was going. You knew Rhea was going to the Elimination Chamber. There was no if, buts, and maybes about it. My thing, I haven't had a chance to write this article yet, but I was going to write a little article. She's won world championships. You might want to get her on SmackDown to win the WWE championships, but she's been the tag team champion, NXT champion. I think it's time. I don't know if she'd want to be a part-time performer. I couldn't see her doing that, but I think it's about time Rhea crossed into the mainstream. Chuck her in a TV show or a movie where she can be a badass enforcer. I would absolutely love that. And I think it's about time. She's more than capable of being in a TV show or a movie. She's ready to cross over into that sort of mainstream I was going to say atmosphere. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, cross over in that mainstream sort of audience, cross over to mainstream audiences, because she's got the looks. She is absolutely amazing. And yeah, she's just a nice person as well. But Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton are two women in the Elimination Chamber so far. Of course, you had CM Punk come out and, actually, it was going to be an interview between Punk and Michael Cole. Of course, Finn Balor came out and demanded a title shot, and goaded Punk into it. Adam Pearce wasn't going to allow it. He said Finn Balor had his chance, but yeah, Finn pushed all the right buttons, didn't he? Got CM Punk going. I did see an article through the week. I didn't get a chance to read it. That apparently Punk has been wanting to work with. Well, the headline was Punk wanted to work with Forgotten Star, which is a pretty good headline actually, if I'm being honest. Because how many of us think that Finn Balor has been forgotten? I'll put my hand up because he has not. Besides the NXT title, what's he done? Like, he hasn't been back in the top, near the top, since he won the Universal Championship against Seth all those years ago. Like, it's mind-boggling to think how someone like Finn Balor has not been at least a 2-time world champion by now. It's just, I know, it's just, people might not agree with me on this, but I want him to win. He's not going to win, of course. It's in Elimination Chamber is in Chicago, Punk's hometown. I don't think Punk's going to want to put Balor over in Chicago. So, but put in a good showing. I think this is, it might, if Balor puts in a really good showing again, it might sort of get people thinking maybe Money in the Bank. We could get Finn to win something there. I reckon that'd be pretty good having Finn win Money in the Bank, but yeah, we'll cross that line when we get to it. So, but Finn Balor against CM Punk was made official at Elimination Chamber. So, but early prediction, Punk's going to win, and I'm sure you will all agree with me. Moving on, and these are the two women that I was talking about in regards to Becky Lynch's Intercontinental title, Maxine Dupree and Natty Neidhart. This ended in a double countout. Funnily enough, it's the first of 2 double countouts this week, which I found interesting. But yeah, I kind of think it has both storylines a little bit. So, and of course the writers know what they're doing. So, and the producers, hats off to them. But Natty putting the sharpshooter on the table was a nice touch. The low-key legend looks awesome. And I like Maxine, but I think Natty needs to be... Obviously, AJ will probably knock off Becky Lynch, but the next person to win the IC title should be Natty Neidhart. Or just Natty, they're calling her. So I just find it hard not to say the Neidhart at the end sometimes. But yeah. It was a good match. Not much to say about either performance. Of course, Maxine has come along leaps and bounds. She can look good sometimes. Some moves she still struggles with, but that's all right. She's still learning. So, but Natty just is this killer persona that Natty's got is great, and I can't really fault it at the moment. Well, if you've got any faults in it, let me know, because I'd like to see what I want to hear what they are, and hopefully if you comment, we can chat about it on the show. So yeah, but then the next match we had Javon Evans and OG El Grande Americano against Los Americanos, of course. The young OG, which I still find funny name, because how can you be a young original gangster? But nah, that's neither here nor there. But of course, you had you had Bravo and Rio. I think I called him Rio last week, and I apologise for that. But you had Bravo Americano and Rio Americano taking on Javon Evans and OG El Grande Americano. I know a lot of people aren't into this feud against the two Americanos, but I'm actually one of the few that is excited for it. I still think it should end in a mask versus mask match, and I think Chad Gable should be the one to unmask. That's nothing against his portrayal of El Grande Americano, but I think the sooner we get back to Chad Gable
being Chad Gable, the sooner he could possibly be back in a mid-card or world title picture. Have you seen him since he came back from injury? The man looks insane. Like, he's just worked out crazily, so I think he deserves it. And I think Ludwig Kaiser has been doing great as El Grande Americano. And, of course, you got Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne as Rayo and Bravo Americano. I don't think you split that up anytime soon. That's just what I think. But, of course, Javon Evans, the man is poetry in motion. He's just, what can you say, chef's kiss. Beautiful, beautiful artwork in the ring. And that cutter where, I'm pretty sure it was Bravo, jumps off one turnbuckle and Javon's on the other, and he jumps up and grabs him cutter midair. Like, that's just, that's just amazing. So I'm pretty excited to see what they do with Javon. Do they push him to the moon yet, or do they actually give him a mid-card title? Or I think it'd be silly to put him in a tag team right now and win tag team titles, because that's obviously going to be a short-term storyline that will probably hurt him more than it does help him. Leave him single, give him the IC title, and then maybe push him next. He could be the one to unseat Dom. Wouldn't be upset with that, but it just depends on how far they want to push Javon to the moon. And it also kind of depends on where Obafemi ends up. We still don't know where he's going to end up. Of course, he showed up on SmackDown last week and destroyed Kit Wilson. So that's just, you've got to work out what they're going to do and who's going to go where, because you can't have everyone you can have everyone at the top of the title picture, but you can't have everyone winning the title. So, but Javon Evans, if he keeps busting out moves like he did, he'll be winning something soon, just as long as it's not the tag team titles. Moving on to the main event of the evening. It was LA Knight versus Penta and Austin Theory to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. And of course, I let this out of the bag earlier. I said LA Knight had qualified for the Elimination Chamber. I am sorry about that, but if you've watched Raw, you probably know. Good match. Of course, he had the Masked Man come out and cost Austin Theory the match. So, few things with this. It's hard to think of what they're doing with LA Knight. Are you pushing him are you going to push him to a title, or are you going to just put him there, keep putting it just in his reach and just, because people are going to give up on him sooner or later, and you don't want that. He should have been a world champion by now. You strike while the iron's hot. It's lucky that the iron has stayed as hot as it has, because Jesus Christ, irons don't stay that hot that long. Neither do wrestlers. But I love the guy. He talks well. Oh, he's a great talker. Every now and then he can fob a line, but that's just him being overexcited. So, but again, we've got the Masked Man fiasco. I spoke about it after the Rumble. Some people said it was Finn Balor. It's definitely not Finn Balor. My belief is that it's Seth Rollins, or a new theory that I read about is that it could be Adam Pearce. Now, this theory is interesting because having Adam Pearce as a Masked Man would be amazing. I know I've said amazing a lot lately in this show. Apologies for that, but it would be great if Adam Pearce is the Masked Man. That would be cool. Where you'd go? Who knows where you could go with it? He could, you could have Seth come back and be like, it wasn't me. I told you, why would I do this? Even though you attacked me, and then have Seth running around saying it's Adam Pearce. I know it is, and then Pearce fobbing off as crazy, and then it all getting unmasked. It all getting revealed I wouldn't say WrestleMania, but getting revealed somewhere preferably at a premium live event over over Raw, because you want you want the fans watching the premium live events, of course. But I just think it wouldn't do it any justice. Wouldn't do the storyline any justice if you unmask Adam Pearce on Raw, despite him being the Raw general manager. But I like that theory. I think it's something that could work well. So yeah, that's just what I believe. But LA Knight and Randy Orton are both in the Elimination Chamber match. So yeah, and of course Knight is continuing his Vision Killer ways. Obviously eliminated all men except for Bron Breakker at the Royal Rumble. And of course, he defeated not LA Knight. He is LA Knight. He defeated Austin Theory here as well. The big thing is, will the other two members of the Vision, or at least one of them, make it into the Elimination Chamber? Logan Paul, of course, has been in it before. I would love to see Ozilla himself, Bronson Reed in it. Of course, I have much love for Bronson Reed. Big fan, whether he's a heel or he is a babyface. You could have both of them in there and go after. They could both go after LA Knight. But if you're going to pick one, I'd like my heart says Bronson Reed, but the head probably says Logan Paul. And the reason I say that is just some of the moves he can do in the match would be spectacular. But yeah. You don't know what's going to happen moving forward. So yeah, but it was a pretty good show overall. Wasn't didn't burn the house down, but a solid 7.5 out of 10 for me for that one. So again, we're on the road to WrestleMania, and it's starting to heat up. Of course, Elimination Chamber's on the way. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day in the 2000s when the pay-per-view in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania was No Way Out. I used to love that. I thought that was great. Old No Way Out. I think for a while it was a SmackDown only pay-per-view for a bit. Back when. So the funny thing is, back in the 2000s, they used to have brand specific pay-per-views or premium live events. And of course, they'd alternate, and of course, the big ones, the big four, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series would be both brands coming together. But you'd have No Way Out would be a SmackDown, you'd have Backlash would be an all Raw pay per view, and then you'd have like No Mercy in there somewhere, or Great American Bash would be a SmackDown one, and stuff like that. So yeah, they were interesting days. So. I reckon you should go back and watch those ones if you can. But again, like I said, 7.5 out of 10 for me for Raw this week. Moving on to NXT, and I was going to be at the top, but I wasn't, unfortunately. NXT, quite enjoyable. I don't mind it. The way the setup is at NXT, it reminds me of WCW Worldwide. If you can find WCW Worldwide on YouTube, go back and watch it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This has major WCW Worldwide vibes. But Joe Hendry won the title, the NXT title, in a 7-man ladder match the week before. It's about time Joe won some gold in NXT. Well, not just NXT and WWE. The man is, over. What can you say? He's just, people love him. And no one is sick of I Believe in Joe Hendry. That was a terrible clap, Josh. Anyway, but of course he came out to do his celebration. Wasn't supposed to be fighting on the night, but Jackson Drake called him out and the match was made official. But of course, first up we had Miss Jada Parker. Oh, Miss Parker. She's my favourite. Against another one of my favourites, Blake Monroe. Like I said, there were two double countouts this week. This was the other one. I was a bit surprised that they did go with the double count out for these two, but and I can't remember the last time there's been. Maybe this is my bad memory seeping in here. Can't remember the last time two decent feuds got double count out. So pretty enjoyable match. Blake Monroe playing the sort of, can't remember what the word I'm looking for, but the heel that runs away all the time with Parker hot in pursuit. I love the Hypnotic. It's amazing. But of course, both of them going at it, showing the wares. So I think Blake Monroe is absolutely just really just not dominating, but she's really doing well in NXT. And I would not be surprised if she got a call up anytime soon. I think her work here is great. That's not to say Jada Parker's not great. Her work here isn't great either. But the two women are just. I think this is going to push. This feud will push them up a bit more in the pecking order of NXT, and I'm not sure what they're going to do here. Obviously, you had this double count out. Now they've been attacking each other for weeks. You've just got to. I think the feud has to end in a stipulation match. I'm not sure what sort of stipulation you have for these two because I don't know if you could have a street fight. You could do, or you could do something else. I'd have to go back and sort of watch a bit of some old shows just to see if there's a stipulation that I think could fit with this. It's interesting, but yeah, we'll have a look at that. But this feud's obviously not going to simmer down anytime soon. So not when the first match ends in a double count out. So my money is on Jada Parker winning the feud, but I could be wrong with that. But we'll wait and see. So yeah, but a decent match. And the Hypnotic on the referee, that bust him through the what are those things called? The barrier. That was great. Jesus. I wouldn't mind getting Hypnotic through a barrier either. But anyway. Eli Knight, next match was as part of the speed tournament. Eli Knight defeated Josh Briggs. Now, Josh Briggs is... I won't say he's dropped off, but I don't know what... There was some speculation about what Booker T said in commentary, about the release, getting released if he's not careful or something to that effect. I don't think he's going to get released, but he's in danger of just becoming a sort of a mid-level guy. I think he can be a bit more than that, but to have him in the speed tournament just to get him to do something to do is stupid. I don't think I said this last week. I don't think the speed title is going to last a year. I think they'll get absorbed into something else. Its purpose was social media, and now that it's moved to TV, I don't think it can survive. But it's not to say that there's not some great action, but I just don't think it's gonna garner many more fans. That's pretty much it. These two guys though, Elio Lafleur, who won last week, and Eli Knight, who will meet in the final, and then the winner of that fight will meet this man here, Jasper Troy, who is the current speed champion. These two are going to just light it up. If you want to do something different and see what can happen in a fast match with three people, I reckon you make this a triple threat match. I reckon, again, in the final, you have Jasper Troy come back and attack these men, ruling it like a disqualification, double disqualification, have no winner, and then have a triple threat match for the speed title. I want to see how three men go at trying to win the match in that 3-minute time limit. I think I don't see anything wrong with it. But having Josh Briggs in the tournament just to have something to do is just silly. Find something for him to do, something a bit better, But anyway, yeah. Of course, we had Tony D'Angelo and starting his war with Dark State, who, of course, you had who are Dion Lennox, Cutler James, Osiris Griffin, and Saquon Sugars. That was good. I'm not going to lie, because you had the backwards and forwards with OTM and Hank and Tank, and of course the culling, and then you had everything happen. So yeah, once the smoke cleared, Tony D'Angelo came out and did his thing and said what he was going to do, and he was going to hunt down Dark State. Apparently, he's going to be taking on Cutler James next week. That will be interesting. Because what do you do here if you're going to make Tony D'Angelo the one-man wrecking crew? Is you're going to have to be creative, because otherwise you're going to have Dark State just run the numbers game and just ruin him. But you've got to be smart in how you not ruin him, if that makes sense. I think you have Tony D'Angelo take out members of Dark State before the match separately with a lead pipe or a baseball bat or something, and then that makes sure Cutler James is by himself, and that way you get the fair fight. And then D'Angelo, if you want to make him the one-man wrecking crew, that's where you beat Cutler James down. And I think you end that in a disqualification with D'Angelo using the bat and not getting to the referee's count, or just having him straight up disqualify him for hitting him with the bat, because I think that just adds to the wrecking crew persona, the one-man gang. Of what you want Tony D'Angelo to be, of course. So I see no sort of reason why you'd have Dark State just beat him down again. And if you want to, I don't want anyone to make the save, because it defeats the purpose of having him by himself go up against the five guys and say that he's going to reckon by himself. So keep it that way, because I don't want to see anyone else added to this. Of course, if it feels like it's getting too much, then maybe, but yeah. If you want, you can end it in a steel cage match between D'Angelo and one of members of Dark State to keep everyone out. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself there. But I just don't think you can ruin Tony D'Angelo by having all members of Dark State just jump him, playing the numbers game. So I reckon you get creative. You get him with the baseball bat or a lead pipe, taking out the other members before the match. So yeah. Or even if you don't want to go that far, get him to trick them, and he tricks them he gets them into a room and he locks the door behind them. Do that, old chestnut. That hasn't been done for a bit. I reckon that'd be a good idea. So yeah, but that's just my 2 cents worth there. Moving on to Joe Hendry and Jackson Drake. Of course, Drake, the Evolve champion, and had his Varsity Project team members with him. Of course, they were caught by the referee getting involved, and they were sent to the back, and Joe Hendry was the winner. It wasn't a bad match, but you just knew that Joe Hendry was not going to lose this match. Why would he, a week after he won the belt? Of course, Drake is a wrestler on the rise, but I wouldn't say it's too much too soon to be an NXT champion, but yeah, you don't want him to be NXT champion just yet. So I think the right call was Joe Hendry winning. Very impressive, though, performance by Drake. Then, of course, you had the Vanity Project. Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes against Hank and Tank. This was a pretty good match, enjoyable match. I like Hank and Tank. They do their big man sort of shimmies and whatever else they do. I like them a lot. I guess, yeah. Maybe this is just me, but I didn't think it was a good idea to have them. Okay, it wasn't bad having Vanity Project win, but I don't know if you should put it if they're worthy of going in the tag team championship match the week after, like next. But I could be wrong there. I've seen a bits of the Vanity Project, but I haven't really. I've been watching more Raw and SmackDown than I have NXT lately. So, but who knows what can happen? I don't think they'll win the tag team titles. I think Dark State will retain them next week. I'd love for Hank and Tank to win them again. That'd be awesome. But that's neither here nor there. But we'll see what happens from here. But I'm very happy with Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. They're good wrestlers, and I think they're going to go a long way. If there are any One Tree Hill fans out there, Brad Baylor reminds me a little bit of Lee Norris, who played Mouth McFadden in One Tree Hill. So yeah, but that's just me showing my age. I'm an elder millennial right here. Anyway, moving on, and the main event, you had Zaruka taking on Ren QCC, and of course you had the stipulation Robert Stone made for this match was whoever gets the pin gets a shot at JC Jane's world title, NXT title. I don't know about you, but much like Joe Henry, we knew it was going to go one way. Of course, they want Zaruka to be a star. Why don't you put her right here and win the match in like a kind of weird but interesting stipulation match? So they sowed more seeds of distrust between Zaria and Zaruka. I think what they should have done is, and maybe they're not going to do this because they're not turning either woman heel or not turning Zaria heel, but if they were going to go down that route, I reckon instead of having the face-off with JC Jane to end NXT, I would have had Zaria. I nearly said Zaruka, but I would have had Zaria beat down Zaruka at the end, and that's starting a bit of a feud there. So, but that's just what I think. But we'll see where they're going to go with this, because obviously Zaria's on Zaruka's on the outside of Zaria, but yeah, it was inevitable that she was going to win the match and get the title shot at JC Jane. Very impressed with all four women. Of course, I'm pushing the Australian shtick again with Zaria, but I'm a big fan of hers, of course. Love Zaruka. But someone I really like Kendall Gray too, but I really liked Ren Sinclair. Very, very talented wrestler, and does decent. Is a decent talker, not a great talker, but she's a decent talker as well. But it would have been good to see her get a win, or maybe Kendall Gray as well, being the Evolve champion. But Zaruka was going to win it, and I think they want her to be an NXT champion before going up to the main roster, which I think will probably happen in the later part of the year into the new year, personally, especially after the showing she had at the Royal Rumble. But this was a pretty good show. For me, it had some good stuff in it. I forgot that Keanu Carver also caused a lot of chaos, because Robert Stone said that to him about causing chaos, where he just decimated a heap of wrestlers backstage, which prompted Sean Legacy to challenge him to a match, which will be interesting. Carver, of course, are making him look like a big monster, and I don't know if they want to make him to be a star and be an NXT champion, or what they want to do there. But I'll want to watch him evolve over the next 6 months and see how he goes. So, but they're making him just a wrecking machine, which is great to see. So, yeah. But solid NXT. I would give that a 6.5 out of 10 for that. So that's my review of NXT. Moving on, I'll talk a little bit more about these women here, Zaruka and Zaria, of course, because over on Zaria's X page, she reposted this. They hit the Pentagon. Of course, it's the winning of of the the win, the Sol Ruca winning. I don't know why it took me so long to get that out. Sorry. And there was a little teary face in there by Zaria. And you'll never guess who commented on this. Miss Jordan Grace, telling Zaria that, girl, she's toxic as fuck. She's been publicly playing in your face and gaslighting you. It's good to know that Jordan Grace, who I enjoyed her tag match with Jade Cargill and Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez last week on SmackDown, but it's good to know that Zaria's got an ally in her. So, yeah. Thanks, Jordan, for looking after our girl here, our Aussie girl here over there for us. But obviously, I don't think, unless, I don't know what they're going to do moving forward with Zaria and Sol Ruca. But like I said, Sol Ruca is going to win the NXT title, unless Zaria costs her that. But we'll wait and see. But I don't think they'll do that to her. Again, it's the whole jealous tag team thing, like the Rockers and of course Josie Jane herself and Gigi Dolan, who's now Priscilla Kelly, of course. Before I go, I'm going to head over and we're going to have a quick look at the SmackDown, the preview of SmackDown. Obviously, last week you had Rey Fenix and Trick Williams getting each other's faces, so there's a match there. Nia Jax and Lash Legend will be taking on Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, better known as Rio. That was sort of pushed out in the world last week too. Now, this is the one I want to talk about here. Jade Cargill defends her WWE Women's Championship against Jordan Grace because rumors are circulating on X. I'm pretty sure it was X, or it might have been Facebook, that Jordan Grace is going to win this. Apparently, people want Jordan Grace to win, which is not a bad thing, but I was hoping Jade would hold on to it until at least WrestleMania. I don't dislike either of these women. I like them both. They both deserve their time in the sun. Both deserve to be champions, especially Jordan, because I thought she was a shoo-in to be an NXT champion, but they obviously had bigger plans for her, which is great to see. So I think I would not be upset if she won here, but I would prefer if Jade Cargill held the title longer. Of course, you've got the Women's Elimination Chamber match. You've got Alexa Bliss versus Juliana versus Zelina. They might throw a spanner in the works here and have Julia win, but I see the old guard. I shouldn't call her the old guard because she's not that old, but the more seasoned veteran in Alexa Bliss getting the win. I'd like to see Zelina Vega given a bit more of a chance here. And for that fact, her husband, Aleister Black, I want more from them. I know some people have sort of made comments about them being, a cheaper version of Karrion Kross and Scarlett, but I'm kind of digging the vibes I get from them. So I'd love to see Zelina get her flowers and be more than just a Women's United States champion and former Queen of the Ring. But I think Alexa Bliss is going to win there. And Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu versus Sami Zayn. I did not think they were going to do this. I thought if they were going to do anything, they would have Cody and Jacob in the Elimination Chamber. But because I was envisioning still a triple threat match between Cody, Jacob, and Drew. And now they come and do this. A couple of things could happen here. Jacob could win and go into Elimination Chamber, win Elimination Chamber, and face Drew at WrestleMania. Cody could win. And they Jacob gets upset and somehow manages to convince Nick Aldis to make it a triple threat match at WrestleMania between Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, and himself, Jacob Fatu. Or they could just make Sami Zayn win it to face Drew again because they want Sami Zayn to win because, I just saw an old tweet or X post from everyone's favorite former porn star pro wrestler Val Venus saying that Sammy wouldn't tie up his shoes. I don't know, it was something stupid that he posted last year and said it's still relevant, which it's not. It's about as relevant as what he is. But I'm getting off topic. But Sami Zayn getting the win, and then having just Jacob and Cody fight at WrestleMania. Like, there's nothing wrong with that either. I'd prefer Jacob to be in a world title fight, but you know, there's endless possibilities you could go with here. I'm leaning towards a Jacob Fatu win. I think it's time they. Like, I love Cody. I love Sami Zayn too, but you know, give Cody a bit more time without the belt. He can win it again later in the year. I think Jacob Fatu should give him the belt. See how he runs with it. If you don't like the way he's carrying the company or the brand, get Cody to beat him at SummerSlam or just in a special SmackDown somewhere. But yeah, just make Jacob win it somehow. Or if you're not going to have Jacob beat Drew at WrestleMania, at least get Sammy to. Like, yeah. But I hear like Drew is on the probably the best run of his career at the moment, and finally he's got a championship with people in with the crowd present. So more power to Drew McIntyre. Anyway, folks, that ends this episode of the Hardway Pro Wrestling Show. Thank you for taking the time to join me. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Tell me what you like, what you don't like, who's going to win what you thought about Raw, what you thought about NXT, and what you think about the Zaria Solruka sort of what could possibly be a feud. I will be back after either Saturday, which is tomorrow here in Australia, or Sunday to do a rundown of both SmackDown and, of course, Dynamite. And also next week I will give a breakdown of AEW in Australia next week as well. But thank you for taking the time as always. And you can find me on socials at The Fight Rider on X, Instagram and Facebook and Blue Sky. And until next time, take care.